Shellshock presents.
Ready?
Sharing with Shellshock Season 4.
New Age of Heroes.
Welcome to another episode of Sharing with Shellshock. I am your host, ShellshockPrime, and now here we are with a new episode of the show. We have everybody that's been here before, all three returning guests. Welcome. Good to see you, Bubs. Hey. Welcome back.
How's it going? Welcome.
I'm just going to imitate everything that my doppelganger is doing.
Yeah.
Just do this.
Who's the doppelganger, right? They're going to be like,
you can't tell the difference. Who's who?
Anyway,
I just see no hair and all hair on the face. So who's who?
I almost wore a hat, and I'm just like, no. I was like, we're bald and we're proud.
Well, for me, not as. Go ahead.
I needed to shave today. I never got around to actually shaving today, so I'm not as bald as I could be.
Yeah, but anyway, Bubs. Bubs, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain. Just relaxing after a nice weekend with my guys, and now just hanging out here.
Awesome. What about you, Eddie? Good to have you back on.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm glad to be here amongst some great people, and my weekend has been pretty cool. Friday, I went to a concert. Went to go see Marilyn Manson. Hadn't seen him in like a couple of years, a decade or more than a decade, and he put on a solid show, so that was pretty good. Way to start off the Halloween October festivities, right?
Yeah.
And then other than that, just been watching sports. Let's go Dodgers. We're rooting for a back-to-back, and the Raiders suck, so that is what it is.
All right. What about you, Jess? Welcome back.
Oh. Thank you so much for having me back. It's great to be back. This weekend's been solid, just chilling out. Thai food, Silent Hill F, Sweet Home, and just chill, good times with the wife.
Yeah.
What more can I ask for?
Absolutely. So for tonight, like, we're going to be talking a lot about Castlevania, but before we do, Bubs, remind everybody what type of content you do.
I'm a bit of a variety streamer. I do a little bit of everything, though I guess if you had to ask any of my streamer friends, I'm apparently more of a retro guy than anything, which I guess is true. I don't think I'm playing a single game from this decade right now on my channel, so that's pretty much what I do. You can find me at twitch.tv/Bubs491. Bubs491 is just my name all everywhere. You can find me looking that up anywhere. You see a little red controller? That's me.
Yep. What about you, Eddie?
I'm more of a retro modern variety gamer as well. I think I'm more on the variety side lately, and that's usually what I pretty much do. So anything from Mega Man, Resident Evil, Metal Gear, Silent Hill from time to time, and of course, like the classic retros like Castlevania will be included on there.
All right. What about you, Jess?
Definitely a variety streamer. I play a plethora of games, big games, little games, indie games, retro games. If it's a game, I'm going to play it. And so if it's long continuing franchises, what I like to play. So we're talking about Castlevania. If there's hasn't been a Castlevania in forever, but if there's a Castlevania or Castlevania-esque game, I'm going to play that. So that's generally kind of how it is. So the old merges into the new, constantly playing that.
Yeah.
And when I do play the old stuff, we try to play on the old OG consoles on original hardware and for that classic vibe. So that's good times.
Sounds good. All right. So Castlevania started back in 1986 in Japan. It was on the Famicom, it was on the MSX, and a couple other random consoles that popped up in Japan. And then it has spawned like a big series for a while. Like it was on the Super Nintendo, it was on the Genesis / Mega Drive, it was on the TurboGrafx 16 / PC Engine CD. And so much more. Like the series has been around for a long time. Like Konami brought it out. We would have these games in Japan. It was originally known as Akumajo Dracula. For a while, they changed the series to Castlevania over there, but the fans were saying change it back in Japan, and they did. And it's always been Akumajo Dracula over there. But right here, a lot of people remember the series like on the NES with the first 3 games, and Simon Belmont happened to appear on Captain N the Game Master. But there was never a Saturday morning cartoon for Castlevania. You thought that there would have been one back in the 80s or 90s, like many other video game series had it, but Castlevania didn't. It did, however, get an anime adaptation many years later, but the Castlevania, like the way that Konami would release the games, we would have multiple games, multiple entries per platform, but they would start pumping them out like every few years, and then like they switched to the whole like Metroid style, hence the Metroidvania. We have the 3D games and many more. So let's talk about our own personal like history with Castlevania. Bubs, we're gonna start with you. Like, how did you get into Castlevania?
Ooh, that is, God almighty, what was my first one I probably ever laid hands on was Symphony of the Night. I was aware of the series. There's a high probability I played some Super Castlevania 4 over at my friend's house on their SNES.
Yeah.
The first game I actually myself sat down, got completely hooked on, was Curse of Darkness. And I've seen a lot of vitriol for that one. I've seen a lot of vitriol for the 3D ones in general.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't get it. Those are fun as hell games. I played the hell out of Curse of Darkness a couple years ago on my channel, and it was one of the most fun series I did because like it was just so nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
Since then, like I've been trying to play more and more. I completely missed everything about the DS and Game Boy Advance era. I've relied on Let's Players to get any idea of what the hell those games are like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think after Curse of Darkness, I kind of just stopped for a while, and then got a hold of Lords of Shadow.
Ooh.
Nice. Very nice.
I didn't hate it by any means, but that is one that I understand the vitriol for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one did some massive damage to the series. I still have yet to play the second one, but one day I'll sit down and do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Lords of Shadow. Yeah, I remember like seeing like that game when it was being hyped up, and ended up just not really hitting the mark, and even less so with the sequel. It did not. Eddie, what about you? How did you get into Castlevania?
So Castlevania is a very interesting series for me because it's one of those ones that I was introduced to. I say late, but it's not late, right? Because there was 3 games for the Nintendo and a couple for the Game Boy. But my first Castlevania experience was Super Castlevania 4. It like set the precedent for everything, and it was very rough in the sense for me where like I first found out about that, and then trying to move forward. Like the next game was like Castlevania 64, and I was like, oh. That was like my introduction to it and stuff like that. But Super Castlevania 4 is like one of my top favorite games of all time. Tried the Castlevania 64 because that's what I had at the time. Later on, I had acquired a PlayStation 2 and came across Symphony of the Night, and that became like my second favorite Castlevania game. At the time, I would try to go back to the original ones, but I was like, these are too tough. These are too difficult. It's not the same. I had such high standards with Super Castlevania 4 and Symphony of the Night that going back kind of felt like a downgrade. But I've learned to appreciate them for what they are. I've played the first one and the second one, but never completed the third one. And then I missed a lot of the Game Boy Advance ones and the DS ones, but I eventually did come across and played the Game Boy Advance ones, but not the DS ones yet. Lords of Shadows to me was a fantastic game in my opinion. I really liked it. I was a little biased because it did have like Hideo Kojima and the whole Foxhound engine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought it was great. I thought it was like really good for the series. It really to me fit like the whole like the Belmonts going up against the big monsters and all this stuff and like filling in the lore. But yeah, that was my exposure to Castlevania was Super Castlevania 4. And I've also I know we'll probably talk about it later, but Castlevania 64 has become one of my favorite ones as well.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
Sounds good. What about you, Jess?
I've been there since I was showing this off earlier before we started chat. I've been there since this game, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2. This is not my original copy, but I bought this from a friend way back. But like, I bought this off of him for $30, like way back. So this was like, I got this relatively cheap, but it's complete in box. But this is the first Castlevania I ever played. I didn't start off with I'm a NES kid, but I never played the OG Castlevania. It was this one. A cousin of mine had it, and it was one of those classic, like, you know, when you play difficult games or adventure games back in the day, and you would like work on it together with a friend or a cousin or a sibling or something like that. It was definitely one of those deals, and you know, the classic. I mean, this is funny, like how you find out like from other kids, like Nintendo secrets. Like clearly somebody called the Nintendo hotline or had the Nintendo power, but they tried to like pawn off that as like, I discovered this on my own. So Simon's Quest has that infamous part where,
yeah,
exactly. There's also that. Yes, that's perfect. But they, like my cousin found out on his own, like how to like do the crystal tornado warp thing where it takes you to another game, because that was where we were stuck at. And out of nowhere, he's like, I just found this out on accident. And there's just like, it's a very specific thing you do that you can't really find out on accident. Like you have to like know, but it was like one of those things where it's like, oh, like I found out on my own. No, someone told you that. Yeah. Anyways, because of that game and how great it was at the time, I loved it. I went back and played part 1, and then like when part 3 came out, I was actually amped to play it. And you know, I rented it, played it. I've been with that series ever since, and like I'm missing gaps because of not having the system. So I didn't play the Game Boy ones. I didn't play the 64 ones because I didn't have a 64. And then the initial Game Boy Advance one, I didn't play that first one, Circle of the Moon. When I had the Game Boy Advance adapter for GameCube, that's when I played I forgot which one, but the first DS or Advance one, and I played all of them up until Ecclesia. Ecclesia was like the one I missed out, and then technically the last Castlevania game I played was Portrait of Ruin. I missed out on Lords of Shadows, not because I didn't like it, but just because I didn't get it, because I thought the demo was really good. When the demo came out, that was the thing that was divisive. A bunch of Castlevania fans was like, what is this? This is like...
Yeah, the gameplay was never something I had an issue with. Like it played pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And people complain, it's like, well, this is like God of War, this isn't Castlevania. And I was like, I think it's good. I thought it was great. It's just one of those games that
wasn't point to me a game that wasn't a God of War clone at that time.
Right, exactly, 100%. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a good clone too. That's the other thing too. Is like I think it looked, sounded, played good. I just didn't play it, just not out of not wanting it, but I just missed out on that. And then I didn't play its sequels or the 2D 2.5 sequel or 1.5 sequel, whatever that game landed out. But
what that one was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been with that series the entire time, and also because of how impactful Symphony of the Night was at the time when that game came out. Any Metroidvania, Igavania, whatever you want to call those type of games, I that's my bread and butter. I love that style of game. It's still great.
All right. So my history with Castlevania goes like this. I actually started the series, like getting into the series back in 2006, actually. It was Christmas Day that year because I just bought the Wii, and that day, like, because Nintendo used to do the Virtual Console on Mondays back then before they switched it to Thursdays. And that day, they released 5 games. The 5 games they released were R-Type, Super Castlevania 4, Street Fighter 2, Super Nintendo, Super Mario Brothers, and Toe Jam and Earl. And then Super Castlevania 4 was a recommendation from my cousin. So I played it, and I fell in love with it. And I just could not stop playing that game. Then eventually, like, after a while of, like, getting through, like, I believe the 9th level was the one that had, like, that... In Japan, it was like a blood pool, but in North America and Europe, they changed it to green. They made it look like acid. and I was stuck in that level for a while. And then I remember like eventually getting through, like, and having to fight those two monsters in a row before fighting death, and then like the Dracula fight itself towards the end, which has that secret where like if you go all the way to the other side, like you jump down, like there's an invisible stair, and then you see a secret where like hearts drop right on top of you, as well as the 2 block, the 3 block. And if you did not have the whip upgrades, they would drop too. If you did have the whip upgrades, they will not drop because you already got them. But then you go up and then you go fight Dracula. You have like maxed out hearts. You have everything prepared. Like it's basically to get you ready to fight Dracula. And it's actually not that hard of a fight in comparison to other games in this series. It was pretty challenging for what it was, but I felt it was more fair compared to like Dracula's Curse, where if you died in Dracula, you have to go back a little bit further back to a certain point in that last level, rather than going straight to fighting Dracula like in the first game or even in this one. I have since played other games in the series, and right now I'm still in the midst of playing the Castlevania games. I'm actually about to do Order of Ecclesia soon, but I absolutely love Portrait of Ruin. Like, don't get me wrong, Symphony of the Night is a fantastic game. The first time I've actually played Symphony of the Night was on the Xbox 360, but they did not have the full motion video cutscenes because at the time, Xbox originally had like a limit of how big the games could be. It was like 50 MB maximum. They had since lifted it, but I remember back then I was just playing it, and then I was watching my brother play the game, going through the inverted castle, and then I picked the game back up, but on PS3 because they had the PS1 Classics version of it, and I beat the game. I got the second best ending in the game. And I love Symphony of the Night. So I was thinking I would like some of the other Metroidvanias. Circle of the Moon was okay. Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow was pretty good. Dawn of Sorrow was pretty good. And I love Portrait of Ruin. So I'm looking forward to getting to Order of Ecclesia soon. I have not touched any of the 3D Castlevania games. So I haven't played the 64 games. I have not played Curse of Darkness or Lament of Innocence, and I have not played any of the Lords of Shadow games beyond a demo of the one that was on the 3DS, Mirror of Fate, and I did not like it. And the most ironic thing about Lords of Shadow games, like because in addition to Kojima for the first one, they also have Mercury's theme. The same Mercury theme that would go on to make Metroid Samus Returns and Metroid Dread. So, I guess it's just depending. I guess their quality of work just depended on who they were working for at the time. But I'll give the Lords of Shadow games a shot at some point, like an actual like shot, because I feel like I never really gave it a chance. I just did. It's just that the demo of Mirror of Fate, like the first impression was not great, but I will go back and play the 3D games in the future, but I played the original Game Boy game, the Castlevania The Adventure. Oh boy, that one's not good. But
yeah.
But you want to know what
That's a rough one.
But you want to know what's the worst Castlevania game in the series? The arcade Haunted Castle. That one is very, very bad. Unless you play the Japanese version of the game. But which is a lot easier, and at least because you have limited continues in the American version or European versions of the game, but Japanese version unlimited. At least you'll be able to beat the game. But they did remake the game. If you get the Dominus collection, like Haunted Castle Revisited, way better, much better. That much I'll say.
It's what a remake should be. It's like when you remake something. Like there's all like, oh, it's a reimagining of something, and sometimes they remake something that's already excellent, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with like people's perception of remakes is like you already remade something that's already excellent. Haunted Castle is like what a remake should be. You took something that had potential but was pretty much a failure, because even the Japanese version of that game, it's okay, right? But you can see you can definitely hear it because the music's incredible, right? And the sound design's very good. But you can see the potential, you can see the ideas. It's just that it's just not executed right. Like that game's not meant to be like formatted for an arcade game.
Yeah.
And like that's a game that you're like, oh, I'm so glad they remade that because it has some really great concepts, but it was just stuck in this forever, this kind of a weird experiment of a game. So that remake is like really good. It's awesome because it's like you remade something that needed to be remade, you know?
It's kind of like,
so, yeah.
It's kind of like how it's not the first time they did something like this. They actually remade Castlevania The Adventure on the Wii with WiiWare, Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth, which no one could buy anymore because the Wii Shop channel hasn't been active in like 8 years or so. But anyway, please Konami, bring that back and bring the Gradius and Contra Rebirths with it. But anyway,
that needs to be a pack. Yeah. That M2 games,
100%.
those Rebirth packs need to be a pack that need to be released. Just those, yeah, because they're great. They're flat out great. They're not. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're great. They're like really good games.
They are.
You know?
This will shock you, Shellshock. The Wii Shop channel, it hasn't been that it's been gone for 8 years. It's been gone for 6.
Yeah.
It closed down January 30th, 2019.
Right. But still, like, please, Konami, bring those games back, please.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The fact that they exist and they're not accessible is the frustrating thing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because they are good games. It's like, why wouldn't we, as fans, want those games?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the issue is it's Konami, and they really their best decision they've made is remaking Metal Gear Solid 3, a game that arguably didn't need a remake by any means. But from everything I've seen, it's freaking beautiful.
They have.
I don't see them making a good decision when it comes to Castlevania right now.
But they have been getting better at some of the collections they've been releasing. Like the Castlevania collections have been amazing so far. The only thing is, I know for a fact that Sony funded the Requiem collection that has Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. But if there's a contract for it and if the contract expires, I hope that they're able to port it to like Steam, Xbox, and Switch so that more people can have access to it. Because I feel like Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night, like when it comes to modern hardware, like being stuck on PlayStation 4 is not the best idea. I get why, but I really do think that if the contract expires, Konami should just port it.
100%.
Excuse me.
I do the Dominus collection does give me hope because they had zero reason to do that Haunted Castle redo. There's no reason they needed to do that.
Yeah.
But they took the time and energy to basically make a ground up brand new game, and I don't know the staff who worked on that, but it looks like it's very close to the pixel art style of the Rebirth games.
Yeah.
Like it looks like that same style, that same flavor, even plays kind of the same. So I do kind of have hope that, that those games would kind of find a way back or something like that. I think the one thing about Konami right now is that they are on the path of understanding that their classic IPs have value.
Yeah.
Now, have they hit gold on every single resurgence of it? No, because they've brought back Contra twice. And the last time they did it, I think there was, Contra fans were so burned out of the previous Rogue Core game that they maybe didn't want to give the new Wave Forward one a shot. And also that one wasn't super great either because it's just missing that original Contra juice. So I think it's just but with their Silent Hill initiative, with their Metal Gear initiative, I think that there's chance to kind of do something like that with Castlevania potentially, because they have to see all the plethora of Metroidvania games out there that just strike gold left and right. One of the biggest games of the year is a Metroidvania, and it's Silk Song, and it's like Konami has to kind of look at that and go, yeah, we can do that if we want to. We can even it could be half as good as that game, and it would still sell.
Oh yeah,
whether it's good or not. From a business standpoint, they just have to do it. That's all they have to do. I would want it to be great, right? I don't want it to be half-assed, but I mean, from a business standpoint, they have to look at that and go, hey, there's value in this IP.
Absolutely, yes. So now the next thing I want to ask, and I'll start with you, Eddie, on this one. Do you prefer the Castlevania series with the original style that was pre Symphony of the Night? Do you prefer the Metroidvania style, or do you prefer the 3D style?
So I prefer the before Symphony of the Night. I'm not gonna say Symphony of the Night is great, but I like a very more linear, traditional one. Like I said, Super Castlevania 4 just set the precedent for a lot of things. I very much enjoy that style of just going through brute force and getting through to the through the stages and getting to the end. But I can respect the RPG elements that Symphony of the Night brought in. If there was a way we could combine both of those, like I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's just simply because I think with me, this is definitely a me problem when it comes down to Metroidvanias. I get lost easily. I get super lost easily.
Fair.
And sometimes you get to a point where you get stuck, and I'm just like, I have no idea what to do. And there's most of these games don't have like a simple like, hey, you need to go here, which is what I love about like Zero Mission, and we can talk about like Metroid Zero Mission all the time. They literally like, your next objective is here. Yes, then I can like kind of figure out how to go there. But I think that's what my frustration.
They dropped that after the Kraid fight.
Yeah. But
I
it's
think
like
at that point it teaches you. It does a good job of teaching you.
Right, exactly. And so that's where I'm at with that. Like I prefer that. I appreciate everything else that comes along with it. Like I said, even the 3D ones. And it's also kind of one of my worries because like Castlevania 64, as far as the 3D ones goes, Castlevania 64, Lament of Innocence, and like Lords of Shadow are like my top three because those are the ones like I heavily like dove into. And it worries me sometimes because like I feel, going back to what we were talking about right now about Konami basically like, hey, bringing out another game in the series, would it be a Metroidvania 2D style or would it be a 3D? And I feel that if they really wanted to do something different and really kind of like, hey guys, we're doing our best to kind of like bring Castlevania back, is they're going to go Souls-like. And it's going to be 3D and Souls-like because that formula works. I would prefer it more to be like God of War, if anything, where it's not too clunky in the Souls-like controls, but I would like the remake of God of War, right? Where you're using the triggers to attack and all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah, that's where I stand with it. I prefer a more linear experience. I enjoy it. I think it's you go through so many worlds and the music always like complements it well. But yeah, it's a linear experiences for me.
All right. Now, what about you, Jess?
So torn because my favorite Castlevania game is Symphony of the Night. Not just because of the nostalgia of being there when that game came out and waiting for it, playing essentially 2 generations of Castlevania before that came out. And this was like, we'll talk more about that game in detail, but that game was just like a hype, like nothing will top this. And at the time when I played it, but I think that formula has been evolved by other, fans of that game who've made their own take on that type of game. I think I favor the original formula of just stage per stage challenge based. And also that Conic Castle revival game that hits so good, and it's like that's what I want to see more of. The 3D ones are really good. Because I want to make that like clear. I like the 3D ones. Lament of Innocence was like really great because I played that before I played a little bit of the 64 one. I just thought it was a really great 3D take on feeling like what the Symphony of the Night or classic games are like. It still felt like those old games. When you kind of go more to like modern gaming, it is more like a God of War game. And now I think Castlevania is such an influential game. The Souls games and any game that's derived from that formula, I feel that that's just like the combination of like Castlevania, Ghouls and Ghosts, the Ghosts and Goblins series, into like taking that into the 3D world. And I think that genre kind of is on its own thing. So for Castlevania to return back to the 3D, I think will just in an unfair way will always be compared to that, or it'll be like a God of War game. So when I think about like what I like the best or what I would rather prefer to play, I think I go back to the old school ones. I think about the vibe of Castlevania 4 or Bloodlines on the Genesis, or like those old, NES ones. I'd love to see kind of like, our current, sophistication of pixel art done in a game like that. Unfortunately, like it's like on a small like little tangent. This is the year of the ninja, right? So we saw Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, and the new Shinobi game come out. Like 2D takes on those games, and both of those games are very, very good, but they're not like one-to-one of the OG formula. And like what would really make me happy is like a Castlevania resurgence that really doesn't try to like, let's do something like that has all these perks or roguelite or any of these other things. Just a straightforward, well-designed 2D adventure that is challenging and is very good, that doesn't have like weird stage progression gimmicks or anything like that. Just a straightforward, really good action game, and charge $15 for it or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess like right now, I guess like when I think about it, I think the OG ones are kind of like my flavor, I think.
That's fair. All right.
And that's a good formula, honestly, what you mentioned about like Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, because that's a very linear game. It's point A to point B, like a little bit of exploration. So give me that in Castlevania form. And I always said it when Blasphemous came out, I was like, this team should make Castlevania. Like, absolutely. Yeah. If Konami could be like, hey, let's bring you on board so you can do Castlevania, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a little bitter that because they did a great, like Ragebound is great. It's a flat out great game. I would have thrown that in the trash over a Castlevania game. Same team, same music team. I would have lived my life without Ragebound. I would have rather had a Castlevania game. But we have Ragebound, so it's all good. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Bubs, what about you?
Hard to say, because, I feel like it is definitely at its best in 2D, but I kind of like the linearity of it, but I kind of also want to see them do a linear 3D, not like what Lament of Innocence or Curse of Darkness had, a linear 3D where you can actually get just everything surrounding Dracula's castle. Like, actually surrounding the castle itself, seeing everything going on. Like, when you look out the window, you can actually see the countryside. Kind of get what you can't get out of the 2D. So I think I would lean on a 2D or a 3D game with the 2D mechanics of just being linear. And, like, maybe give the choice to go back to a previous stage or something. Like, if you figure out like something you can do just for like Easter eggs or something.
Yeah.
But I think that get away from the Metroid mechanics, because let's face it, now everything it's like everything that's 2D with that's even slightly similar, it's a Metroidvania. It's like, oh no, it's just a Metroidvania. It's like, no, get away from it. There was really that term was coined when there was really only one Castlevania game that was similar to Metroid, whereas every Metroid game has always been a Metroid game. It's the same damn style.
Yeah.
But then suddenly
100%.
Symphony of the Night comes along, and it's like, oh well, let's call them Metroidvanias. It's never felt right that was the origin of it. Not to say there aren't others in that style nowadays, but it just didn't feel right at the time.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment as well. So I haven't really gone out of my way to play like the 3D games, but I do plan to change that in the future. But in terms of the original classic style versus the Metroidvania, or in Japan, Japan is actually the term search action, which some people in indies also love that subgenre. As
I prefer that, because saying Metroidvania, it kind of reduces what Metroid and Castlevania are, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah. So search action.
In fact, search action just sounds cooler to me.
Yeah,
It does.
Right.
Like the main thing about it for me is that I do want to go back. I do want them to go back to the older style, but I do like to see just what more they can do with the Metroidvania / search action style. Like, how can they actually top each game? Because for 3D, I will say this though. If you want a game that kind of reminds you of Castlevania, except it's a completely different series in terms of what they're going for and the style, I feel like the best way Castlevania could be in 3D at this point is if they were to have a game that's like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, like something like either one of those games. And because I feel that style suits Castlevania a lot more than like the actual 3D games that we did get, or even Lords of Shadow. Lords of Shadow is more God of War like. So I want to see a Castlevania game that's more like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta.
I mean, honestly, throw Dante in a Castlevania game, see how quickly the problems get solved.
Yeah.
Because both Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, they tend to have like in Devil May Cry's case, you have devils like and demons, whereas like Bayonetta, you have like these angel demons that you have to fight against. They're kind of opposites in a sense, but they have similar themes. Like you have churches, you have like different like deities and beings and all that stuff. But more so for Devil May Cry with the deities, but like you do have some gods in Bayonetta, but just having these big like bosses as well as like characters of like different cults, religious themes, and all that. I feel like that would work for Castlevania, like having a game where different missions, there'll be point A to point B, clear the mission, you get bonuses, you can upgrade your stuff, and then you can move on. That's what I would want in a 3D Castlevania game. But if I have to choose what I like the most, it's really hard because I love the search action games, but I also feel that the original style that was in terms of what made Castlevania what it was really needs to come back. So it's really hard for me to say. I'm probably leaning more towards the original style than the search action style, to be honest. But that's just me. So, Jess, I'm going to start with you on this next one. What are your favorite Castlevania games of all time? And in the purpose of time, up to 3 games.
Up to 3 games. Well, first off, yeah, like I mentioned before, Symphony of the Night is like my all-time favorite. I think like I was talking about nostalgia, but I've heard other, that game is so like propped up on a pedestal. It's been talked to death. So, and I might talk about repeating points about what other people have said, but that game felt like Konami and the people that made that was like, this is it for this era of gaming, because it was on the PlayStation 1 and you're jumping from pixelated graphics to a 3D world. And I kind of feel, and other people have said this, this isn't like my original idea, it's just something I just totally agree with. It feels like this is like their swan song for this era of technology. And they put everything they had into that game. And granted, there's a lot of assets repeated from Rondo of Blood. Mm-hmm. And because I had never played Rondo of Blood because I was a Japanese exclusive, it all felt new to me. But they put everything they could possibly cram into a game that feels like a swan song for what I think is probably that series. Like it feels like this is the last Castlevania we're gonna make before we're forced to make some other 3D game or 3D version of this game, and it kind of is because Castlevania was dormant for a while before you would have the Game Boy Advance Circle of the Moon, which wasn't even like a priority game. So that game being it like just the end all be all of like everything all in one basket, all like everybody on board, everybody on deck, the top tier music, just everything about it. And then the fact that the formula is copied to death to this date, it's just like, why it's like an all timer. Now the OG formula favorite of the game for me is going to be, I'd go back and forth. I'm going to go with 4. I'm going to go with Castle. I was going to say 3. I was going to say 4 because it's vibes alone. It's kind of, there's 2 16-bit games. There's Bloodlines for Sega Genesis, and there's Castlevania 4, and Bloodlines would come out later. I think Bloodlines is a more inventive game. I think the bosses are like really. There's again, this era of Konami almost feels like the programmers are trying to like prove a point. Like we're, for whatever reason, they're just flexing all their creative muscle. And Bloodlines is kind of just like trying to show off, like, look how creative we are. Look how we're changing the formula you've played. This is like the umpteenth game you've played at this point in time. What can we do and what can we show that you've never seen before? And it's such a spectacle and it's such a great game. But vibes alone, I think Castlevania 4 is a stronger game just at the end of the day because it's just such a. It's another reason why I bought a Super Nintendo. It's funny because Symphony of the Night is a reason why I bought a PlayStation. It was like Resident Evil, Symphony of the Night. Like I played Symphony of the Night on a friend's import PlayStation before it came here, and it's like I need to have this experience, and so it sold me. And going back even further, I had a Sega Genesis, and when the Super Nintendo came out, I rented that, and the first game I rented was Castlevania 4, and it's like I need this, like I need this system, and I need this game.
Yeah,
and so that would be like the other one, and then like right underneath that, just because of like again like how nostalgic it is, it would be Castlevania 3. So there it is. Like it's just like Castlevania 3 is the pinnacle of the NES era. The 16-bit era is Castlevania 4, and then Symphony of the Night. Like all the other games that would come after that, like that they would do, they're great. They're fun, but they never match that level of excellence because I think at that point in time they had like nothing to lose and they put everything into it. Everything else feels like we're comfortable. We know this is going to be fine. And also the limited hardware and everything. We can only do so much with this formula, and they never push themselves to go beyond. And like I said, those games are great, but I think they just don't touch that level of like oomph that Symphony of the Night has.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. What about you, Bubs? What are your favorite Castlevania games, and up to 3 games at most?
I mean, you can easily enough predict Symphony of the Night for me. I'm a massive retro guy. The 2D aesthetic, it's some of the best looking sprites in the game or in the series,
Yep.
and just in terms of 2D games in general. Like, honest to God, the only true complaint I have for Symphony of the Night, and I might get some hate for this one, it is the most boring Dracula fight of the series. He is sitting in a chair, and he is claiming that's his true form. Like, I'm sorry.
Super fair enough.
Yeah. It's like you guys literally have some of the coolest designs. Like, Death looks fantastic. Slogger and Gaibon look great. The Beelzebub and Legion fights, or Granfalin fights, like, those are just showing what you guys are capable of. So we're going to make the big bad just sit in a chair and lecture you.
Yeah.
That one never sat right.
Yeah.
But honest to God, as far as I'm concerned, it is a damn near perfect game. Like, it is, the PlayStation is one of my favorite systems. That one's up there. That one's very up there, competing with Spyro Crash and Final Fantasy IX for me. Which anyone who knows me, that's high praise.
Yeah,
Because those 3 are amazing to me. Final Fantasy IX being my absolute favorite game. But I would say for another one, which I would actually argue might be my favorite, only for nostalgia, Curse of Darkness. I liked that you weren't playing as a Belmont, you weren't playing as Alucard, you're playing as Hector, and I felt Hector had a really interesting story arc that they semi-emulated in the anime. Spoilers for a 5-10-year-old anime at this point. I think that they did a fantastic job with that. It probably has my favorite death fight in the series. Dracula actually was difficult, as long as you weren't over-leveled, which I ended up being because I obsessively played that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would consider that one of my favorite PS2 games as well. I really don't know what I could pick as a third one because I'm constantly jumping between a bunch of the classic ones. I do still need to play Castlevania 2. That is one of the few that I have not played. I jump between 3 and 4 personally.
All right.
Like, yeah, I can't figure out which one I like more. I just like them both. They're a lot of fun. They kick my ass every time.
They do.
I have fun with them.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. All right. What about you, Eddie? What are your top 3 Castlevanias?
So I'm just gonna throw out that Symphony of the Night. I feel like is on its own, right? Like it's a lot of people's favorites because it does so many things right. So I won't use that as one of my 3 games. And I'm gonna go with Super Castlevania 4 for sure. Like that's like my top tier. Will always have a good time no matter what. I get fully invested, dark lights, popcorn, soda. Like I'm doing it all to get into that game, right? Just to take me back. It's like such a core memory of playing that game as a kid that I will forever treasure Super Castlevania 4. So that's like my number one for sure. 2 and 3, just to be a little bit different. Well, not only to be, this is like based on truth, is Castlevania 64 is like one of my top 3 as well. Just simply because I was part of the crowd that hated on it without even having to play it, right? It was just like people always like, oh, this game is terrible. The controls are like blah, blah. Symphony of the Night is the better game. And I remember seeing my friend play it and not giving it a proper shot and just going based off of his bias that he was like, this is like the worst Castlevania game you could ever have. 25 years later, I start streaming, whatever, and I'm like, you know what? Let's challenge myself and let's play some Castlevania 64. And it was like one of the best experiences I've ever had. The whip mechanic is honestly one of the best. The enemies are pretty fucking cool. The boss fight was probably like mediocre at best, but honestly, I had a lot more time and just how out of pocket the game was. Like you would see the skeletons riding the motorcycles, and yeah, that's like dumb as heck, but it's still like just it was so fun to play that game that I really, really like had a good time with it. And then the third game that I would have to pick would be Lords of Shadow. I really, really enjoyed Lords of Shadow. Part of me, I think it was like I said, like the bias of like being a Kojima fan and having the Foxhound, but like it just to me was like really great that Kojima and Konami were like, we want to make this like a AAA like blockbuster title, and they had gotten like a famous actor, like what was his name, Robert Carlyle, you know, from the Full Monty, The World Is Not Enough, and stuff like that, to voice a Belmont, and I just felt like he was like perfect for it. Like I thought it was great, and then you had, I think Patrick Stewart is the narrator, right? And it's
Patrick
just like
the narrator,
and it's just like so things like that, and the music and the atmosphere. Like I felt like I hadn't like I it's been a while where I felt like, man, I'm seeing myself in this game. Like going through the countrysides, going through the like the traps and everything, and like going through the story, and then just to me the end was just like, for those that haven't played it and stuff like that, I won't spoil it, but it's just like really, really like cool. Like I just really, really had a good time with it. So those would be my top 3.
All right. So before I get to my top 3, I just want to point out something I posted in the podcast guest room that like what I consider to be the hardest boss in Symphony of the Night. That one was hell. The Galamoth is that gold guy, like the giant gold guy who has like he has a big sword.
He literally has he has the highest HP in the game. Like it is, yeah, no, it's exactly who I thought it was. He is actually got the highest HP in the game. And speedrunners that play this do everything they can to avoid him. Yeah. Because it takes so long. And they're always such a low level, they're only dealing 1 damage at a time to him.
Yeah, it's a speedrunner's nightmare for like any of their runs. Like that will hinder any runs. Like so it's better to avoid them like at all costs.
No, I would say like even in my randomizers that I've played for the game, even though I end up pretty broken, I'm still thankful that I have yet to have to fight him to get anything to finish the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it got to the point where like I couldn't even beat him like when I was streaming it like 4 years ago. Like I just couldn't beat him. It was that bad. Like it was very, very bad. But every other boss I've fought and I've beaten with, like some of them gave me some trouble, but most of them didn't really give me like a big problem at all. But other than that, like things could have been a lot worse than that boss. Seriously. So in terms of my top 3, this is gonna shock a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, I love Symphony of the Night. It's a fantastic game. It's not gonna be in my top 3. But I'll
is that Eddie? Is that the YouTube thumbnail?
Yeah,
but I'll tell you.
That's it.
I'll tell you.
You'll never believe.
But I'll tell you what will be in my top 3. Okay, if anything, I would say it will probably be like number 4 or 5 for me. Like, but for top 3 for me, right now, I think the best game in the series, because like remember, I have yet to touch Order of Ecclesia. I'm going to be playing that soon, and I'm sure that things are going to change when I do, but maybe. But right now, Portrait of Ruin is my favorite game in the series. Just the fact that it's actually like a follow-up to Bloodlines, like you play as John Morris's son Jonathan, and you have Charlotte.
Percent.
I just loved everything. I love the story within the game. I love the characters, like the character development as well with the characters. Just
No, there's a Let's Player that I watch. He just uploaded the finale over the weekend. I've got to watch it still. But I watch him go through it. I'm like, I need to play this.
Yes.
There's so much about it that looks so good.
They nailed it with that one. Honestly, like one of my all-time favorite search action games, for especially within the Castlevania series. The next one that I'm gonna go with is going to be Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. And for me with that one, like, because that one was on the Game Boy Advance, and they managed to, like, they pretty much pushed the Game Boy Advance to the limit with that one. Like, I felt that of the Game Boy Advance Metroidvanias, that's the one that's the best looking. It's the one that I felt that had the most effort put into it. And so many twists within the game that I did not expect whatsoever. I really connected with Summer Cruz. I loved it. Like, I thought it was fantastic. Although, like, Dawn of Sorrow is a really good game. I feel like it's not as good as Aria, mainly because I was not the biggest fan of the touchscreen seal that you have in that game in order to defeat some of the bosses. I feel like it was like they were just trying to use the touchscreen, which I'll say this right now. It's not as bad if you're playing it on the actual DS, but if you're playing it on the Dominus collection, it's bad. It's really bad.
Well, you know, Nintendo, they made a gimmick. They're gonna make sure they're damn well gonna use it.
Yeah.
How does that work on like PS4 or PS5, by the way, or like some like a
Touchpad would be my guess. That's
You have to the right stick.
or right stick, I guess.
I was
Just
gonna
kind
say
of
either touchpad or right stick, because that's Okami on PS4. You use the right stick to control the brush.
Yeah. But yeah, like so number 2 is definitely Aria of Sorrow for me. And number 3 is Super Castlevania 4, because that's my first Castlevania, and that's the one of the original style that I loved so much. So much. It's one of those comfort games where you can just go back and play it whenever you like. If you're stressed, that's a game you can just go back and play. In my case, that is for me. I love that game, everything about it. The music, I love the settings and everything. Like, at first, you don't start off at the castle. You actually start off like building it's a build up to get to the castle. You're getting there, and then when you finally get into the castle, it feels like I feel like it's 2 halves of one game. Like, the first one is you getting into the castle, and then like the second half is when you're actually in the castle. Because I remember, I felt that I remember playing it, and to me it feels like the culmination of like everything that you know about within at least Castlevania 1 and 3. Not so much with 2, but mostly 1 and 3. And then they took all of that, put it in Super Castlevania 4, and they perfected it. And to this day, it's the only classic style Castlevania game where you can use the whip in multiple directions with Simon. Like, there's no other game that came afterwards. Like, the games that came afterwards did not have that, which I thought it was completely disappointing. Even with Rondo of Blood, which would actually make number 4 or 5, like, alongside Somebody of the Night on my list. Like, even with Rondo of Blood, that didn't have it. Like, it had, like, pretty much almost every other quality of life improvement, but not that one. I guess maybe they want to make it so that, like, only Simon could do it, but not any other Belmont, which I don't know, but I would love that. I would just love another Castlevania game that allows you to use the whip in multiple directions, and you can just like toss it out around, like you can just whip around, like you just don't have to move. Like the enemies could just like get close to the whip, they'll take the hit and everything. You don't even have to move anywhere. That's how much I love this game. Like this is the little things about it just makes it worthwhile for me. So those are my top three. So to reiterate, Portrait of Ruin, Aria of Sorrow, and Super Castlevania 4 are my top three Castlevania games of all time. But I would still have to think about like where I would put like Rondo of Blood and Some of the Night. Like they'll probably be 4 and 5, but I haven't decided where they would go. But yeah, so we'll go back to you on this one, Bubs. What do you think is next for Castlevania? What do you think should be next for Castlevania?
Oh, that's a rough one. I don't know. I think maybe get back to their origins. Go back to just straight up. It's you with a whip against Dracula. I think that might be the better option. Don't try to like add more story where it's unnecessary or anything like that. And if you can't pull that off, I think maybe it's time to just move on from Dracula altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and this can be said for a lot of villains, looking at Eggman or Bowser, after a certain point, just accept you lost, man.
Yeah.
Or I like the idea, and I can't believe I'm freaking referencing Sonic Forces on this. Let them win. Let them win, and you be that Belmont that has to pull everything back out of the dark. Put all those demons back in hell. Do what you can to stop that. Like, I think that might be the next best step is something like that. And like I said, I think just maybe leave Dracula behind overall. Like, I think even Metroid is starting to do that with Ridley, and he's starting to take a back seat, and I think that might be for the better, even though he's my favorite villain. It's probably better.
Mm-hmm. That would be great if they were to do that. I'd like to see how they would handle doing that in general.
Yeah.
Eddie, where do you think Castlevania should go?
So I think it's a difficult question, right? Because I agree with a lot of stuff that Bubs is saying, but I also think like, man, could you have a Castlevania, like a true Castlevania game without Dracula or some form or variation of it? It is possible. If I were to have a say in it, I think just going back to the traditional 2D linear, like we talked about earlier, something like in the Ragebound style where we get pixelated perfection, great music, and then just linear gameplay of just your typical good guy versus bad guy, that would be pretty cool. I would also kind of lobby if we could have a female protagonist. I'm a very big fan of Sonia Belmont. I think Legends is one of the very fun games for the Game Boy. And I would like to see more of that.
Yes.
And even if it was something like how they did it in Ragebound, like where you have two different characters that like join together and somehow create like, hey, now together we're gonna go fight Dracula type of situation. You know what I mean? I think I would definitely do something like that. But yeah, I would prefer a 2D linear game. I would hope that that's what they would go for. But I feel that if anything, Konami would probably do another 3D game. I just don't know what style it is. I just hope it's not Souls. That's me. I'm not a big Souls fan, but it's most likely
I
going to be a
adore
3D.
Souls. I adore Souls. Like they're some of my favorite games. Does not belong in Castlevania.
Right. It does not.
Not everything can pull it off. I think Darksiders 3 proved that in the fact that it was semi-Souls like, and it just it hindered the game more than anything.
Yeah.
I think that's what would happen here.
Yep. And I agree.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my take on it.
All right. Jess, what do you think Castlevania is going to go from here?
Well, I was mentioning earlier, like from a business standpoint, it just seems like the easiest thing to do would just have them create a, Metroidvania, but we're calling, what was it? Search and
Search Action.
search actions is such a better thing because like Bubs was saying, like I never liked that phrase from the get-go. It's just it's an industry widespread term now, but so it's like you just have to say it because like rather than kind of like figure out what it is, but search action's so much better. That's so much great. I think the easiest thing to do is to make that kind of game. Is that what I want them to do? No, but I think from a business standpoint, it's like that's like the surefire thing that'll make it work. What I would love them for to do, like I was mentioning earlier, is doing a classic throwback action, like a pixelated 2D thing. But I think the thing that would kind of give it like replay value is to kind of find follow the formula of Dracula's Curse, the third game. So you have a 2D game that can be replayed and designed in different ways with a different cast of characters that have different play styles. So that kind of encourages the replay value. It gives the game, like a, longer shelf life. It has the potential to kind of like add character, give the game a roadmap. And from a timeline perspective, I think do something like the Sorrow games did where they were like, those were like futuristic, but like do something that's like, how do we bring back the Castlevania story into modern day setting of whether it be, what I do like about like the idea of not having Dracula in it is like, present the game that Dracula's not in it, but at the end of the day, guess who pops back up? It's Dracula again, or something to the likes of that in some form or fashion. Because
the nice thing is, Dracula can get tiring. He literally has the Grim Reaper as his right-hand minion. You can't actually kill death. It is a concept. So it's like you could arguably use him over and over again, and it wouldn't physically be able to get tiring.
Yeah. So I think death being the ultimate boss or final battle is such a great thing. But
I would have done that once. I think Lament of Innocence is the only time death has been the final boss.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that was like the final boss for that game.
No.
But to me, that's what I would love for them to see is like if you bring back a very just no gimmicks, no combat, like no combo system, just like you were saying earlier, Shellshock, 8-directional whip, classic play. You have a whip character, you have a sword character, you have a magician character. You have characters different play style and design the stages to where each character benefits it in a different way to give you a different reason to play. Branching paths, multiple endings, that to me would be outstanding. That's where I would love to go. From a business standpoint, I think Konami's initiative right now is like resurrecting their IPs in very safe ways. So the Silent Hill initiative is like, here's a bunch of Silent Hill junk, right? But at the forefront is we're remaking the fan favorite game. It's like the slam dunk move. That game didn't even have to be good. It just had to exist for it to sell, to get Silent Hill back on track, for it to be an IP to invest in. Metal Gear Solid 3 is the same exact thing, to the point where it's not, I haven't played it yet, but just from what you can tell, it is the same game. It plays the same. It's the same cutscenes. It's the same voice delivery. It's same game.
It's a one-to-one remake.
Because it's the safest thing to do. It's like, that's a slam dunk. It's an easy sell. And then the revival and sales numbers of that, and it's like a testing ground. They make some money off the IP and they go, do people want to see this thing thrive? So for you, take that and apply that logistics to Castlevania, like what they would probably do is they would remake some game that exists already and add a coat of paint on it, like a pixel redo of, they just did that with the Haunted Castle revival game. That might be a testing ground for something they might want to do with like one of their legacy games, like Dracula's Curse, or Simon's Quest, or something like that, or even just the OG game. Go back to just the original flat out roots. Do that first, and then if that has the juice, then they can do something. Then they would go on to a 3D game. I don't think they're ready for a 3D game. That would be rad, but I just don't think they're confident in their IPs to kind of go full on out on. Something like ground up like that. But what I would love to see, Dracula's Curse style game, modern day, multiple playthroughs, multiple endings. That would be the jam. I'd love that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of game companies are terrified of taking risks right now.
Yeah.
100%. It's tough. Like making games is tough. So like from small indie companies to big companies, it's all about making decisions that are going to.
Oh, like the devs, they've got nothing but my sympathy for all this crap. It's people
Yeah.
who only see the dollar signs. They
Yeah.
are the
Right.
red tape that's causing the problem. Because there's plenty of
Right.
devs out there. I used to want to break into the game industry. I don't anymore. The AAA industry is ass.
It is.
Yeah.
It's bad now.
How disappointed would you be though, Jess, if they do give you that 2D traditional Castlevania, but no omnidirectional?
Again, if it's designed good, if it plays good, if it has that tight gameplay, I play all those Castlevania games without the directional whipping, and it's great. I love those games.
So
Okay,
pretty
but
upset.
can you
I'd be
still
like,
can you still jiggle the whip?
Yeah,
Because
he's
we
like,
can't
no, you
jiggle
know
the whip.
what?
I don't want it.
Yeah. But the Iggyvania, the Iggyvania when Bloodstain was launching, such a great idea to throw that Kickstarter out with the campaign. Like the big campaign push was Sorter Whip, because then you're taking the classic Castlevania mentality with the Symphony of the Night mentality, and that was that kind of choice was a big driving force for why Bloodstain had a great Kickstarter campaign, an initial push for its the success before the game actually came out. I think Castlevania should just straight up rip off the guy who made that particular game.
Yeah.
It's their game and they can do it. They have the right to do it and have the same kind of energy behind it to like their Castlevania game has the best of every Castlevania that you like. And that's like the recipe for success. It's just a matter of them finding a team that could do it justice, because all the people that we love that made those games that we love, they're retired. They don't make those games anymore. It's all up to like the next generation of pixel artists and programmers and whatever, and how well they can perform or do something with this classic franchise. So and they did that with Contra, for example. They went back to Way Forward, and that Way Forward team that made Operation Galuga is not the Way Forward team that did Contra 3. It shows, because that game is just it's just off by a little bit. It's really cool, but it's just kind of just not quite there. It even feels a little off. So it's very difficult. Like it's like one thing to want something and then another thing to like actually do it, and make it happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Where do I think Castlevania will go though? Well, we're still gonna have the TV show. Like we have the show that's on Netflix. That's still gonna be. That's like, I know like it's the second series because they already ended the first one. That's still gonna be a thing for a while. But people make jokes about how like Konami will do everything but make a new game. But let's say if they were to make a new game, because like they do a lot of merch, collections, or like other references and like different stuff, different mediums. But where I think Castlevania should go from here, what's next? What should be next for it? I would probably work on a couple of games and spread them out. I would start off with a more classic style game that's supposed to be a return to form for Castlevania. And the way that we would handle it is you have like a Belmont that you play as, and it's basically like classic adventure. Just add a little more to the lore, but just I'll probably make it more story focused, similar to Rondo of Blood, but also like give you the exact look and the exact feel of the classic style Castlevania games. I would also do a search action game. I would as John J. Torres said in the chat, like if they were to make a game where it was Julius Belmont game that took place before Aria of Sorrow, like basically that. But what they could also do is they could practically just take another timeline that was referenced in a different game and use that as a basis for the next game that you can work on, or make something completely new altogether. Me personally, I would actually like to see like what if you were Dracula? Like I mean like what if you played as actual Dracula, and then your goal is to like kill whichever Belmont that you're dealing with. Something like that.
Could be a fun what if scenario.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like anything they could pretty much do. It's just a matter of how they'll handle Castlevania moving forward. But I really think it's just making new games. Of course, you're gonna have 3D. Again, like I was saying earlier, they should make a game that's kind of like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, but for Castlevania. Like, it would suit Castlevania a lot more than the God of War style that Lords of Shadow had. So I would say you gotta make some new games. Like, you can't just focus on re-releases forever or the show or merch. Like, that can't be the only thing you have regarding Castlevania. And the same thing goes with like characters appearing in other games, like how you play as both Simon and Richter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And there'll be other games where like you would have like references, like some of the Bomberman games have skins, like Castlevania skins in there. Like, you can't just rely on that alone. You need the actual games. Like, I know Capcom does this with Mega Man. Same thing right here with Castlevania. You need to have new games. You need to be able to have something. So
For Pete's sake, 11 came out how long ago, and it was the best-selling Mega Man game ever,
yes.
and they did nothing.
Meanwhile, like, aside from the lot, yes, we did get a remake of.
Thank you.
We got a remake of Haunted Castle, but aside from that, the last time we got a brand new Castlevania game was Lords of Shadow 2, and that game tanked. And then, I mean, we got Bloodstained. Like, Bloodstained is like what pretty much scratches the itch of Castlevania. Like, you have the Curse of the Moon games, and you have Ritual of the Night, and there's a new one coming out, I believe, next year. So
I think so, yeah.
So at least there's something along those lines. I actually, because like when I watched that State of Play back in June, and when they announced Bloodstained, I actually thought it was a legit new Castlevania game, and I was excited.
So did I.
But then when I saw Bloodstained, I was still hyped because Bloodstained Ritual of the Night was a really good game, and I'm gonna get it. But if there was any disappointment that I had, it's the fact that it's not an actual Castlevania game. It's just Bloodstained. Mm-hmm. But that's not a knock on Bloodstained. I think that Bloodstained's great, but damn, like, they had me. Like, I thought that was Castlevania for a second. Like, I thought that was going to be a brand new Castlevania game. I'm like, oh my god, Konami's finally doing Bloodstained. But yeah.
You know what I would also like is a full blown like actual art book, like of the illustrations from like Castlevania, like, you know, the Ayami stuff. What is it? Ayami Kojima, I think that's the name.
I believe I've actually got an art book of the first series, and it is so cool to just flip through it. Like, there's real cool shit in there, and I think I personally, I love art books, so I'd be all for like an actual art book of the series as a whole. That's
what I would want. Like, I've seen them, Konami release like some really great Castlevania, Metal Gear ones, I should say, not Castlevania ones, but Metal Gear ones. And I would just love to have a Castlevania. That's one of the reasons why I had bought the Castlevania collection through limited run that came with an art book, but was very disappointed when it was just literally like a small handbook, and you're like, what is this? I want like hardback, like, you know what I mean? I want it to look like this is a coffee table art book. Yeah, like, you're like, holy crap. That's what I want. That's what I would really like.
Yeah,
but like, to reiterate though, it's I do think, like, it's been mentioned in chat, like the properties we brought up from, like, you know, that are doing, like, Konami's doing Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill. Someone mentioned Gradius as well. That made a comeback. The Haunted Castle revival. I do think there's great hope for them doing something with Castlevania. I do think that I would like to think they have it in their radar to say that, hey, like, people love Konami of old, and these are like the games that people have loved over the years. And the fact that they're making those choices of releasing games, because, you know, while I didn't think Operation Caligula was perfect, it is a solid game. It is a great game, and it is a Contra game. Like, it follows the classic formula. It is a run and gun game. It didn't do it didn't like reinvent the wheel and try to do something really dumb with it. They were like, Rogue Core didn't work. We need to make a classic, and again, very safe decision game to make it where it's essentially like almost like a semi reboot or retelling of the original game. Like it's kind of like what it is. It's the most safe thing to do, right? So with all they're doing with their IPs, I just think that just bodes well for Castlevania because they could see the reception of these games doing well. Someone had mentioned Silent Hill F, and that game is doing extremely well. And that game did take a risk because it's not, it's not a traditional Silent Hill game. It is a risk-taking game to take the game in a weird different direction. But before you get to that point, they had to do Silent Hill 2. And the development into Silent Hill F, I know they're working on that game already while they're doing Silent Hill 2, but the amount of energy and assets and money and development costs into F, I think hinged on how successful 2 is. For that last year push, if Silent Hill 2 failed, they would have probably not put in as extra effort to take F across the finish line and give it the polish and finishing touches it needs to make it a good game, which it is. It's a really good game, by the way. So I think they're with this as much as I think they're doing well. I think that company's doing a lot for the past decade. I think they've been on slowly a little bit on the right track, getting back that kind of attraction to classic gamers and also kind of new gamers too, who are like new to these series and stuff.
Because their casino money is down. That's why.
These pachinko machines aren't bringing in the money they used to.
Right. Yeah.
Wonder if the guy who suggested the Metal Gear Solid 3 pachinko machine is just like, oh, I went the wrong way with this. The fans actually wanted this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
now we have one more question before we get into the community questions. How much does Castlevania mean to you? And Eddie, we will start with you.
Oh man, Castlevania, it's one of those like top tier series for me. I hold it close to the heart. Just because, like I said, Super Castlevania 4 was just such an impressive game for me. But it's something that I always love seeing in any form of media, whether it be a TV show, merch, Funko Pops. I'm all for it. I think it's one of those series that deserves all the praise, all the love. Because they were taking risks back then. It was something different. It was something new. It wasn't the norm. And it was dark and it was gritty. And we've been through some really ups and some very bad downs with it. And now I'm glad that like we're getting these collections and like people are able to play it on modern consoles and stuff like that. Yeah, you can, find other means to like play it, but some people don't like going that route. And they just like, I have a PlayStation 5 and I want to play Castlevania. And here are your options and stuff. I have a Switch, and here you go. But no, I think it's one of the top series for me. I think it's up there with Mega Man, Super Mario, Zelda, anything Castlevania related. I always get excited about. So that's where I stand with it. It's just one of the top franchises ever.
All right, Jess.
Outside of gaming, I'm also like a big horror movie fan. I love movies and I love horror movies. Castlevania is the appeal of Castlevania early on is like, this is like for me, like one of the early creepy, spooky, scary games. Cause you're fighting Dracula and you're fighting all these monsters. And like I said earlier, I for people who didn't see earlier, I have like this OG copy of Simon's Quest and that's like the first Castlevania game I played. And then I went back and played the original one. And the original one has the appeal of like, you're fighting all the monsters. It's so great. And that's such a like tried and true formula. And then the formula to keep it going afloat is the creativity of like what other monsters and what other kind of mythology and creatures and anything beyond that. It's just it's a ocean of ideas that you can bring to fruition because fighting monsters, I know it just sounds so generic. You're fighting monsters, but at the end of the day, that's great. I think for me, it's a great franchise. I love these games. If they make a Castlevania game, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not going to pass one up anymore. I passed up games in the past and it's like, I regret that. Like I regret I didn't play Lords of Shadow. I regret I didn't play Ecclesia of Order of Ecclesia. It's like, I should have played those back in the day. And like, now I have the means to play those. And now, like if they bring Castlevania back, I will be there to support like what they do and go from there. But yeah, it means tons. I have tons of memories to it. Just like a lot of fans, lights down, you're playing in the dark. We're going, everyone mentioned Castlevania 4, and then like Castlevania 4's Dracula fight is like the ultimate vibe for this entire series, where it's the hero's moment of you fight all these monsters, and that last rush of Simon's theme pops up when you start to fight Dracula. And that's like this unforgettable experience where your brain fills in all the gaps. Like, because that game doesn't have dialogue, it doesn't have really a story. It's just you're going through the levels, but your brain fills in all the gaps of like what this world means to you. And I think it's just continuously doing that. I love Castlevania. I love the vibes. I love the music. I love the style. Like, to me, it's just, even at its weakest, sans the fighting game. I think even at its weakest, it's a lot of fun. Like, Haunted Castle's crap, but I will play Haunted Castle. I will play OG Haunted Castle with a smile on my face, because conceptually, it is doing something very cool. There's some very cool stuff in Haunted Castle. And again, like, the remakes is perfect, but like, just everything about this series is so fun. Like, you're fighting Dracula. What more do you want?
Yeah.
And it's also, its influence goes, I mentioned it earlier, its influence is so strong. It's invisible influence. Like, I feel like the whole Dark Souls movement, like Dark Souls to me, like stems from this game, from the Ghost and Goblin series, from challenging games like that, bringing that to the next generation. And like, what can we, how do we evolve that classic challenging game, dark gothic format into the next generation? I think when they were creating Demon Souls and when FromSoft was kind of messing around with that, I really feel like this game is one of the things that you see in games today. Like, every dark gothic game you're playing, Castlevania is like definitely part of the influence, whether the people who made it realize it or not. So yeah, good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a crap game. I'm gonna throw in the trash. I hate this whole series. Yeah.
Yeah. What
Matt,
about
go play High
Why am I
Life.
here? Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Bubs?
Overall, like, yeah, I love the series, but I won't say it's ever been a truly important series for me. I play the shit out of it. I enjoy so much of it. I've played more good Castlevania than bad, and you know what? Someone finally mentioned it. I'll defend Castlevania Judgment. There's not much to it, but you know what? For the idea, the fact that it took them that long to come up with the idea of, what if we just make Mortal Kombat but Castlevania? You have the roster. We'll say it's one of the weirdest designed deaths in the entire series, but you know what? He was my main. Has buff Light Yagami, says Cutie Caitlin, and we don't talk about the anime hot boy era of Simon Belmont. I much prefer. I definitely prefer that they were the one they went with Ultimate.
Yeah.
You don't like the long, beautiful red hair one? Do you like that one?
Like, that art style was actually started, like, there was a game that was released here, Castlevania Chronicles, which it was for PlayStation, and what happened was that they redesigned Simon Belmont, and as you can see,
beautiful Simon Belmont.
Jess has that.
Gorgeous.
Yes. That was the Ayami Kojima design, and then you have the Judgment design with the buff Light Yagami. It's just like, it was a thing. But go ahead, Bubs.
Before I get back to my point, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'll take Captain N Simon Belmont over sexy anime boy Simon Belmont.
They both have a mirror, and they look at each other.
N, he feels properly buff.
So the Captain N one, like, that one was, I don't understand what they were going for that design.
I honestly don't. Okay, look at Mother Brain. Look at Kraid or Ridley, like all of them as they showed up. Like, they looked like ass. They barely took Mega Man. I almost forgot Mega Man was
I want to say, because they have no frame of reference when they developed that show, because I want to say that they didn't have their hands on concept art behind the game.
Was
they
coming
only
out as they were making the damn show.
Exactly. They only had the game itself, so their imagination was limited to what the pixels will tell you what they are. So
Okay, but like I will
Whoever
give
played
you that.
Castlevania was like,
I will give you that. But you can clearly tell Mother Brain in the original Metroid does not look like that.
Nope.
I don't know what
but the kids love Little Shop of Horrors, and we have to like have that synergy. We have to make that sell. That's good.
You
The
know
kids
what? I
are gonna
will
love
say
it.
this. At least Mother Brain found a job in 2009 with the Doctor Who reboot playing Cassandra.
What's funny is that because there actually was a Little Shop cartoon, they could not get Levi Stubbs to voice Audrey Jr. But yet Levi Stubbs managed to voice Mother Brain.
Yeah.
And
So wild.
it was very wild. Like
Why was King Hippo purple and had big nipples? What's going on there?
The thing is that the majority of the people that worked on that show know nothing about these games. It was just a license.
They had no basis of comparison. They weren't given the conceptual art, and it's like there's no telling how early that show was kind of like started to made before those games are actually coming out too, as well.
And Simon's theme song in that game is the password theme from Simon's Quest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. I do remember that.
Yeah.
But getting back to what I was saying, like I said, it was big enough that it always stuck with me. I fancy myself a bit of a writer, like in terms of, and like I'm a DM, and I do find myself kind of looking back at some of the stuff they did in the stories for Castlevania. I literally have a character who I didn't even expect to do this, who I put him in Alucard's position, where Alucard is related to the big bad, and you have a modern day setting where Alucard has a completely different identity. I have a character who did that. His relative comes back and calls this shit. I did that. Once I saw that that's how they handled Alucard, I sat there for a second like, this shit is weird how 1-to-1 it is to my writing.
Oh yeah.
And I have always been a massive music can make the game. It can make the movie.
Absolutely.
And Bloody Tears will always be my absolute favorite song from Castlevania. The fact it's not in Symphony of the Night is heartbreaking because I will sit there and just listen to it in the game. And the anime in season 2, they used it at the perfect time when the three of them went into the castle and you could just hear the piano starting up in the background. I felt chills. I was like, oh my God, yes, they finally did it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's great that they picked the perfect moment for that, where they could have easily just abused that music early on and overuse it. They picked the perfect moment.
Because that is something that can happen. And I will, another series, Transformers, they have cracked jokes in the comics about how one of the biggest phrases in Transformers is "till all are one." And they point out that when it's used right, like the Autobot straight up said, Optimus only ever said that at the perfect time when he knew we needed a lift. Rodimus says it at the beginning of every single battle, and it does not hit the same. And they were giving shit to the fact that Rodimus will always say that. And it's like,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you pointed out that bloody tears thing, because I wasn't aware that, like, in my mind, I'm like, no, it has to be in Symphony of the Night. So according to the internet, it says it's not in the PlayStation version, but it is featured in the Sega Saturn version.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and that is so upsetting to me because I don't own a Sega Saturn. I've never owned a Sega Saturn. I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I would need someone to double check for me on this one. I also don't think that it's in Curse of Darkness. I don't remember hearing it in that.
Well, I will say this though, like the sad thing about Symphony of the Night on Sega Saturn is that it was only released in Japan because by the time they released it in Japan, Sega Saturn was dead in North America.
Right.
Like it was like 98 when they released in Japan. So if we
Damn you, Sega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see.
It doesn't look like it is in Curse of Darkness either. So you're right about that.
Okay, so yeah,
one.
my two favorites. I don't even get to listen to my own favorite fucking song.
Yeah,
Screw me.
it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good. Anyway,
Noble Boy, Sega screwed up a lot more than the Saturn.
they definitely did.
Yeah.
Let's see. Castlevania means a lot to me because it's a series that just they had like a very interesting theme. Like they decided to go with something spooky. They had like all these like B movie style monsters that you had to fight. You had a vampire hunter, beat all these monsters, and you go on to fight Dracula, beat him. The castle's destroyed. They is saved for now because he'll come back in the next 100 years. But
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah.
But there were times where like you had like Dracula wasn't in it, but you had something that represented him or a character that had his blood or spirit and still acted the same way. But for me, it's always been fun. Like Castlevania is a series like in the same I put it above like I put it like right in the same league as something like Mario, Zelda, Mega Man, Metroid.
One of the greats, for sure.
Yeah, like all these great series. Castlevania's up there for me. It's, for me, like somewhere between top 10 and top 20. It's that good. Like it's probably maybe higher than that. I gotta really think about that though. But the music is amazing. Like I could always listen to Castlevania music even if I haven't played the game. But just some of them have remixes that are very good. And when you go to Smash Brothers has like over 40 something tracks for Castlevania in the Dracula's Castle stage alone. So because they knew that when you think of Castlevania, you also think about the music in the game. So you're gonna have like some of the best, like they had like the greatest hits of Castlevania music. The bridge theme from Haunted Castle is fantastic. They actually reused it in Aria Sorrow. They combined it with the 5th stage from the original Castlevania, which is called Heart of Fire, because the tracks are called Can't Wait Until Tonight or Don't Wait Till Tonight and Heart of Fire, because they merged the two together in Aria Sorrow. They remixed that track in Harmony of Despair. That track is also used in Ultimate. So many underrated tracks.
It's also a bonus track on the Dracula X soundtrack that was released in Japan. It was a 2-disc set, and I wish I had the box. I have it like stashed away, but
yeah,
it's the soundtrack for Rondo of Blood, and then the second disc is the soundtrack for Bloodlines, which is great.
Yes.
But on as a bonus track, that the same musical team that did the soundtrack for Rondo of Blood redid that bridge track for Haunted Castle. It's incredible. It's like really good. It's the first time I actually heard that because I didn't play Haunted Castle too much down the road because I never saw Haunted Castle in the arcade.
Yeah.
But it's such a great track. Like it's really, really, really good.
Yeah. But yeah, Castlevania means a lot to me because of just the themes, like how the series plays, and the world building of each of all these worlds, all these castles, where all these Belmonts and other characters that are adjacent to the Belmonts in one way or another go on and fight Dracula or a Dracula adjacent character. It's always been fun. So community questions. Epic Man asks, what would be your idea of a new Castlevania game? It could be either 2D or 3D. I've already said mine, which was a Devil May Cry or Bayonetta style Castlevania game for 3D. That's basically what it is. And 2D was pretty much back to basics. Just make it story based like Rondo of Blood, but still make it true to the original style. And Metroidvania, just see just how you can actually like build up with what you have from the DS games. That's basically mine.
I would say, like I had said earlier, give me one where Dracula's forces win, like Hell on Earth kind of thing, but add to it. And this might be getting in a little bit like DK64 vibes area, not in terms of how many collectibles there frickin' are. Dreading playing that game again. But I would say have it be because of hell forcing its way onto Earth, make it so that even like the walls between this life and the afterlife have thinned, and you're not playing as one Belmont, you're playing as all of them.
Yeah.
Like as you go through, you find each of the Belmonts. You find Trevor. You find Simon. I guess you can find Richter. I'm not big on Richter. Richter in Symphony of the Night pissed me off, and that was my first ever interaction with him. And I'm just like, dude, you literally went to Shaft and went back to Dracula's castle because you were whiny that you did your job that well.
Yep.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like give us a hopeless world and let the Belmonts be that hope that they need.
Mm-hmm.
Because do Sonic Forces, but do it good.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I mean, it does sound
earlier,
really cool. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Just.
I was gonna say, I just mentioned earlier that, like, yeah, I would love to see like a game that's closer to Dracula's Curse more than the current type of Metroidvania, but the Castlevania games that were on the 3DS and those search action type of games. I would like a return to form of those. You know, I think they did it good with the Bloodstained 2D style games, but like those are like 8-bit, style. I would either have, 32-bit pixel art, or the thing that kind of broke my heart when Bloodstained came out was that the concept art for Bloodstained, when they first showed it, was like almost cell shaded artwork. And I was like, oh man, if that game looks like that, kind of almost like it would look like it would run like by the, oh my goodness. The team that does like the Dragon Ball Fighter Z and the Guilty Gears
Arc System.
yeah. Arc Systems.
Yeah.
Something like I thought that's what the game was gonna look like. I'm like, oh, that's gonna rule. And of course, it didn't look like that at all. They don't have the, it's a small team, it's a small company. They weren't able to kind of pull something off like that. But going back to that concept art, I would love a game to look like that, like a 2D, like adventure game or action game, to have that kind of look and be able to kind of look like that, but also play tight and very precise, like your the best of the older Castlevania games. Give it to me. Yeah. But Arcs with our Marvel right now, yeah. So they are wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Quick, get a monkey's paw.
Yeah.
Eddie?
Yeah. So I was just gonna agree with like what B Dubs was saying. Did I say B Dubs or
yeah?
Dubs?
You said B Dubs, and I'm like,
yeah, Bubs.
I don't think I've ever been called that before.
Yeah. Dinner time is coming up. Wings are on my mind, and I guess that's what I went with. But I apologize for that.
No worries.
But I agree with what Bubs was saying. Is basically a game where you can have the multiple Belmonts. Like, I think that would be pretty solid. Yeah. And it's kind of a collective thing. Like, we're all trying to get to like the main goal of Dracula. And I think it would be pretty cool also if it was like throughout all of Europe, not just like the central like area, like have them all placed like in different locations and stuff like that. And honestly, I think something like that could probably work if it was even like turn-based RPG. Like, I don't think we've ever had a Castlevania that's an turn-based RPG.
Not a turn-based. No, the closest we have is just standard hack and slash RPG.
Yeah. And I think that would be pretty cool. Like, I think that's what I would like to see. Other than that, then like I said, it would just be and with that said, like, you can feature so many different characters in the Belmont family, both men, women, or anything in between. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think it would be pretty solid.
Yep.
I mean, give me another chance to play as like Sypha or something. Like, she might be married in to be a Belmont, but she's still a Belmont. And honestly, I think Trevor looks at her like, I love a woman who can kick my ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next one is from Nova the Artist. With the Castlevania adaptations involving Trevor and Richter Belmont, if we ever got another, what storyline or Belmont would you love to see them adapt? Whether it's by the same showrunner or a different team. I would like for them to do like an animated version of. I would actually like to see them do an animated version of like a Portrait of Ruin, like Bloodlines of Portrait of Ruin. So That would be nice for them to do. Like, so Bloodlines to start off one season, Portrait of Ruin would be the follow-up. That's what I would do.
I would have to say I need to see Simon. Like, I think like they did Trevor really, really well. Like, Trevor became my favorite thanks to that. I'll even say Richter still might be my least favorite. Nocturne gave him some points.
Yeah.
Like, he was really good, especially in the second season when he got his shit together. He was, and I get it, dude had PTSD, not gonna judge on that whatsoever. But when he finally was able to overcome those demons, holy crap, did he become badass. But I would love to see Simon, because you have a lot. You have what, 4 games, I think, focusing on Simon. So you have a lot you could pick from. And specifically, I would love to see Castlevania 2, a story with him dealing with the curse.
No.
Like, give me season 1, him going through everything. Season 2, him dealing with the curse.
Right. That's fair.
100%.
Yeah, I agree. I would want to see Simon as well. Honestly, I just feel like he deserves it. Something like Dracula's Curse would be like top tier, and seeing that struggle and getting through it. I remember when the anime first came out, and I was just like, "Where is Simon? Like, why is he not in this?" So I agree. I think that would be the best.
I never even realized it was Trevor until he dropped his name, that he was Trevor. I was like, oh shit! I really thought we were going to focus on Simon because Simon is the most well-known one.
Yeah.
But timeline-wise, it makes the most sense for Trevor because and please correct me if I'm wrong, he was the first Belmont timeline-wise to actually defeat Dracula. Because I think I don't think there was many. There were Belmonts before him, obviously, but I think he was the one to finally put down Dracula. I could be wrong. I just know last time I checked, he was.
Let's check the timeline. Well, y'all keep talking. I'll pull this out.
No, please go right ahead.
I think it was Trevor Belmont, and I think his time was way before Simon's.
Yeah, because there's supposed to be, I think, like 2 or 3 generations between Trevor and Simon.
Yeah.
But I think the way that the anime went, they changed it up a bit, and Simon is either Trevor's son or grandson in the anime. Like, I remember them mentioning where Simon actually fell.
Yeah, it's not something that I would have agreed with, to be honest, but
oh my god, that's awesome. That is amazing.
Oh, you have the timeline.
So this is I showed this off before we started, but Portrait of Ruin had a special edition that came out, and it was also the 20th anniversary of Castlevania. So it came with this long poster of the game, but what this really is a timeline of I have it upside down.
Events
of the whole events. So technically, on this timeline, it's Trevor is the first to beat Dracula.
Yeah,
like is what it says here.
But because I know Lament of Innocence was the earliest one. Which one was which?
So Lament of Innocence is Leon Belmont.
Leon, thank you. I kept wanting to say his name, but it was wrong.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time since I played that game, but I think you were correct. I think the last boss is Death. It's setting the stage for what the Belmont's purpose.
Yeah, because Leon's best friend in that story became Dracula.
Right.
If I recall.
And then the timeline, you have Hector, and then it's hilarious because right here, there's Simon. There's your red-haired Simon.
Why did they go with the worst Simon?
I don't know.
So I'm not going to read this entire thing, but yeah, this has, and it's funny because like
you have to.
I have 15 minutes.
Yeah, let's stop everything and read this entire thing.
We have a couple more questions though.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Like the next one is from Ice Pick. Professor Ice Pick asks, "What are your thoughts on that whole Castlevania 99 game? Do you wish Iga had made a prequel to the Sorrow games, or are the events that stop Dracula once and for all better left to the player's imagination?" For context, the Demon Castle War, that was the storyline that was referenced in Aria of Sorrow, where Julius Belmont would face off against Dracula. Like Julius would appear in both Aria and Dawn of Sorrow. But the thing is, it's just a matter of would they actually like make a game like that takes place within this particular timeline. I would like to see just how they do it. Like if it's up to the player's imagination, that's one thing. But I just think that they could make a game out of it. That's my answer.
I personally have zero experience with that whatsoever. I don't know if I could give an opinion on it.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, so I'm on the same boat. It's like I'm not too familiar with anything like, but I just want to clarify something because you guys keep calling it the Castlevania 1999 game. The timeline takes place in 1999. We're saying that Dracula was defeated in the year 1999. Is that what I'm understanding?
I think that's what it's getting at. Yeah, Demon Castle War, also known as the Battle of 1999, a fictional armed conflict, forces of good and evil that occurred in 1999, which culminated in the total destruction of the Dark Lord Count Dracula.
Yeah,
because that is pretty wild. Like I think I would love to see a game.
I think
in that timeline.
Just reading that alone, why is that not a game?
Right.
Of course, you goddamn show off.
It's right there on the thing. I'll read this too because so all this timeline is referencing the games, right?
Yeah.
And then it's hilarious because right here with no story bits, they list Castlevania Circle of the Moon, Castlevania Legacy of Dark, and Castlevania 64 because that's like the whole argument, like are they canonical or not? But they put them in the timeline there. They just don't give them the details. But right here on the side, it says 1999. On August 11th, July 1st on the old Japanese calendar, a total solar eclipse appears over Eastern Europe. It was predicted by Nostradamus, the Great Lord of Terror, would descend. Oh, the Great Lord of Terror would descend upon the earth on that day. The Belmont clan, the Belmonti's clan, and Alucard all confirmed it is indeed the coming revival of Dracula himself. Awaiting the rebirth of Dracula in Japan, they find the magic which can even control gods using the power of a solar eclipse, and prepare to take on the Count. It is Julius, the heir to the Belmont clan, who takes up the vampire killer to face Dracula's power. Then, by the secret arts of the Hakuba clan, Dracula is trapped and confined within the darkness of the eclipse. It is thus which ultimately seals Dracula's fate by destroying him and eternally ending his regeneration cycle. That is pointed in between Castlevania Aria of Sorrow and Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. So it's like events that I think that thing refers to, but like I don't even know if that's referring to the game or if that's events that's referred to in the Sorrow games.
No,
it's interesting that they have it right there.
As far as I'm aware, no, those aren't in any game. You're told about them in I think Aria, I think is what
Yes, yeah.
And it's like okay, that seems like a kind of a big thing to literally gloss over.
Yeah.
And you're right, Cutie. They do mention 1999 a lot, but the problem is that's not a situation that should just be mentioned.
Yeah.
That is a situation that is, oh my god, that is wild.
I need details. I want to know what song they were listening to when they were defeating Dracula. Was like everybody like,
where the dogs do find her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what were they listening to at the time? Like Backstreet Boys, like some Stone Temple Pilots. Somebody was rocking on Metallica. Like, what's happening?
They need to make a game out of it. That's really all I have to say. But
that's what I want now.
Hang on, I actually pulled up Billboard year-end Hot 100 singles of 1999. You got
July
by Cher. No Scrubs by TLC. Angel of Mine by Monica. Heartbreak Hotel. There it is. Mm-hmm. Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. That's what they were listening to. It's number 5.
Wow. Okay.
You can even build this up.
Oh, it's that or Genie in a Bottle. I think Genie in the Bottle might be a bit better.
Oh my god.
You can even build this up to like lead into the Y2K thing. Like, why is this happening? Why is Y2K a thing? It's because Dracula's come back in the year of 1999, and we need to stop it.
Right.
Like, let's effing go.
Oh, no. Okay, so I Want It That Way was number 15, and Livin' the Vida Loca was number 10.
Yeah.
I just gave 5 perfect songs to kick Dracula's ass to, if you ask me.
So
that's pretty funny.
Anyway, so next question. This will be the next few are quick ones. Dragon Flame asks, Super Metroid or Castlevania Symphony of the Night? You got to pick one. Why
Super
would-
Metroid. Next question.
Super Metroid.
Super Metroid. Super Metroid.
Super Metroid.
All right, next question
Yeah,
is
like I'm sorry, I love Symphony of the Night, but Super Metroid, it's Metroid. I fucking love it.
Next one is from Shad JV. What's your favorite non-boss monster in the franchise? Okay, I got one. This will be a very quick answer. So there was like a group of dancers, like a couple that dances. It's like a dancer couple.
Oh yeah.
Hang on, can we ban Cutie Caitlin?
No, we cannot. No, we cannot. No, we cannot. Because I understand not everybody likes Super Metroid. I get the
Oh
argument.
no, like I would never legitimately mean that, honestly.
I know. But
I saw the blasphemy.
but that being said, they have two names: Dead Nobles and Ghost Dancers. I remember seeing them in Super Castlevania 4, and I thought they were cool. And then they would later appear in other games in the series. For anybody that's looking at the podcast guest room, I'm gonna post it right here. Like that's one of my favorites. So that's my answer.
Yeah, those guys are pretty cool. Like they're pretty creepy, and technically they were a boss in one of the games.
They were.
I remember they're. Yeah, so, but I mean,
Yeah, they're
that's
the
literally
boss in,
one time.
4.
Like, you think, yeah, thank you. I thought it was 4, but that didn't sound right to me. But I mean, I know this question is more of like you can't pick things like the Mummy, Death, any of those really big ones.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'd probably go with Slogger and Gaibin, but they are consistently bosses before they're everyday enemies.
Yeah. Like because you had them separately and then you had them together.
Yeah. For me, I don't know. I've always liked. Ironically enough, they piss me off. I have two choices. The first one's the one that pisses me off. Flea Men. I don't know what it is. Like it's satisfying when you actually hit the little bastards.
I hate them.
But I've also always liked the dragon-based enemies, like the literal just the white dragons coming, the white black dragons coming out of the walls. Those guys have always been good. I'm a simp for dragons, so like if there's a dragon, it's automatically one of my favorite things. So
Yep.
but I always found them a lot of fun because they're actual pretty challenging enemies just because they're so erratic in their movements. And I don't know if any of you guys have played the Castlevania Doom mod. Have any of you guys? I think Simon Curse.
A long time ago I did. Yeah.
Okay,
No.
I recently streamed it because a Let's Player I watched played it, and I was like, okay, I need to give this a try. The dragons in that are some of the biggest pains in the asses because now they're firing in a 3D way instead of a 2D way, and you have to cheap shot them. But it was so much fun. Like I always have fun fighting them, so to speak. And I will always curse the flea men, but you know what? I throw holy water on the ground, I just watch them hop into it, and I'm just happy.
Yeah.
There you go. Absolutely.
All right. What about you, Eddie or Jess? What's your favorite enemy, non-boss?
I forgot the name of it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The Symphony of the Night.
Cut me off again. See what happens.
Hey, you know what, Doug?
Children?
You know what? You're right. It is my turn.
Yeah.
Symphony of the Night. I forgot the name of them, but the flower blossoms that pop up and there's like a woman where the root is.
Yeah,
it breaks my heart every time I kill them. They go and they flimp over and they dissolve.
I will agree with you until you're
great.
in the inverted castle, because the ones that are in the inverted castle, they can burn in hell. I hate them.
They'll
It's
jack
way
you
too
up
small
pretty
of an area
bad.
for them.
I totally agree. But yeah. All right, what's this guy's name? He can go.
Can I go now? Can I go? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
It's
go ahead.
the bald guy's turn.
It's the ball guy's turn.
Go
yeah,
ahead,
there it is. So yeah, for me, non-boss would be Arachne from Castlevania 64.
Oh, hell yeah.
When they first popped out, I was like, what in the heck is this? Half spider. Well, it's like a full spider body, and then top half, it's just like sexy Amazon warrior girl. And I'm like, all right, and she has a staff, like a trident. And I'm like, so I thought to me that was like one of the best characters I had ever seen. So that's what I would go with. I would go with Arachne. And I posted a picture of her in the podcast guest room.
All right, awesome. Next one is from. Wait, what happened?
No, I was just looking at the picture because I was like, I thought I had him pictured, and yeah, I just look at that and I see Chaos Witch Q-Log from Dark Souls.
We got 3 more questions, although technically, like, one of them we've already answered, which is from Maverick, which was which Castlevania gave you your first taste of the series. We did answer that question right in the beginning of the stream, so we'll go to the one from Noble Boy. Who is your favorite Belmont and why? It might be a boring choice for me, but you know what? Simon Belmont has always been my favorite. Like, he was my first Belmont. He'll always be my favorite. Even when I play Smash, I always use Simon more so than Richter. But I know people who prefer Richter. But yeah, Simon.
Simon for me as well.
Yeah. Ask me before the anime, I would say Simon as well. But now I got to say Trevor. The anime made Trevor a lot better to me, a lot more well known because like he was in Curse of Darkness, and it never really clicked with me. That I'm like, oh, okay, it's this guy. He didn't really have much presence in there. Come the anime, it's like, oh, he is literally just a down on his luck drunk.
Yeah.
But he's a down on his luck drunk that will kick your ass without a second question, and it just he made using a whip look really freaking cool.
He did.
Because like some of the shit he did was wild, and I'm like, God damn, Indiana Jones, eat your heart out.
All right,
Trevor, same. Everything he said was like perfect. But like, it's funny because even in the old Simon, like the Dracula's Curse one, your kid brain kind of fills in the gaps, and I like Simon. Now, again, this is like you're just projecting what you read in the manual, and that's it, right? That's all you have to base your characters on of what they are. But I always saw like Simon as like the yay hero, right? Like the straightforward, like classic hero, and Trevor just you fill in the gaps of like it has to be more of a complicated, rough, eaten kind of like just kind of like a I don't know, a gruffer version of what Simon is. And the fact that he had other characters to interact with, I think just made him interesting. Like he's the first Castlevania character like that has the potential to have a story, versus Simon, which was just a video game character that you just, moved around. Even in Simon's Quest, he doesn't have a personality. He's just, a character that you're moving around this game that you would just again, fill in the gaps. But Trevor had that potential of like, you got friends and whatnot. So.
Yep.
Yeah, what's the most we got out of Simon? What a terrible night for a curse.
Yes.
That's all he can say.
But I mean, I'm not again. Though, he was my favorite. Like I won't. I'll crack the jokes, but like he was still my favorite for years because he was the OG. But thanks to the anime, Trevor became really, really likable to me. I know a lot of people don't like the drunk hobo thing. Stereotype, but I'm like, no, I don't mind it when it's done right, and it was done really well for him.
Yeah.
And like watching him and Sypha's relationship blossom was great. His banter with Alucard is some of the best written because they both loved and hated each other so much.
Eddie?
Yeah.
As far it's Simon.
Oh no, he said Simon.
Simon. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have.
Yeah, Simon. It's just simply because going back to the Super Castlevania 4. If I had to pick a second one, I would go with Richter, just because I think he has a very cool, badass entrance in Symphony of the Night and in Rondo. But that's pretty much it. But Simon for sure, top tier, omnidirectional all the way.
Simon's the one that has the theme of Simon. He is the one character. His theme is named the theme of Simon because that's how end all be all he is. So there's also that too as well.
Oh no, I can't argue with that. Like I said, that man is iconic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got one more question from Dari. If you could create your own Castlevania game, what characters would you want in it? What style would it be? And who would you be fighting? That one's hard. I'm probably going to have to say that I would like to see a game where, like, if they were to have a timeline that takes place after Portrait of Ruin, where, like, you play as, like, either the son or daughter of Jonathan and Charlotte. Basically their kids. And then see where they go from there. That's mine. Bubs?
I kind of went over it earlier when I was saying, give me a game where where evil wins. Like, think like, and this is referencing the next podcast of yours I'll be working with, Mortal Kombat 9, where Shao Kahn is forcing Outworld into Earthrealm.
Yeah.
Like, just everything is falling apart. It's all shit. And you are the latest in the line of Belmonts, or you're a part of the Jonathan's family who became the inheritors of the vampire killer.
Yeah.
And you are trying to figure out how to send hell back, and you end up teaming up with other Belmonts. And I think instead of Dracula being the final boss, I'd like to see Death be the final boss. I would like to see how he would react to being like, look, all of my other plans have failed, so I'm going against what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm bringing everything back because I am done with you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Also, maybe give him like his, and this is me just picking fun at it. Give me that Varney line, give us those Varney lines from the anime, because I've never imagined a cussing Death being such an amazing version of him.
Yes. What about you, Eddie? What would be
I want that 99 game. That's what I want right now. I would create that. Give me everything about that 99 game. It just seems like such an iconic moment in the series. I want to see that. Yeah, it's so necessary, and I just want it. I want it to be completely that, like everything 90s, the fashion, the music. Like, I know it's asking a lot, but like, give me similar things to that. If
Let
not,
me spend time in a Taco Bell. Like, give me that.
Right. Like, give me all that silly product placement that would happen in the movies and stuff like that. It's 99, so you could even be edgy and do the whole Matrix thing. Everyone's wearing black and sunglasses. Let's go. Like, but no, like if I were to like do something like that, that's what I would do. I would do that game, keep it linear, and I think it would be amazing. I think it would be solid.
Yep. Jess?
Well, we need to go back. Here's what we gotta do. We gotta bring back Captain N Simon Belmont. And what we need to do is we need to abandon all these ideas, right? I think what we need to do is we go full blown Philips CDI, text-based adventure, text-based motion capture adventure. And it's the main
I've never
character.
slashed someone through a computer before, but you might need to be the first one. Can we leave the CDI where it belongs in the past?
Simon Belmont has a aviator, like a World War II aviator cap that for no reason he's got to have that, and
he needs a World War II pilot.
Yeah, he is. It's like no one understands why he has a white. See, and I think the Flea Man that we were so we love so much. The Flea Man should be his wisecracking companion and said adventure game, or do the things I said earlier and make a Dracula's Curse style game.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm totally with Eddie earlier on. It's time for another Lady Belmont character, a strong Lady Belmont character to lead the fray. I mean, having multiple characters is great, but that I think would be a nice change of pace. Or last but not least, bring this beautiful guy back. Bring Simon back, but have him look like this.
Now you're just aiming at me, man.
All right. And with that, that's going to do it for this podcast. Because like I said, we've already answered Maverick's question at the beginning of the podcast. So Bubs, Eddie, Jess, thank you guys for being a part of this. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, and originally, like, we were supposed to have Blizz452 joining us, but unfortunately he had a strep throat, like a sore throat, so it would not have been a good idea to come in to do a podcast. But I'll have him on again in the future as well. I'll have you guys on again in the future as well. So before we sign off, Bubs, where can we find you?
Just look up Bubs491 on YouTube, Blue Sky, here on Twitch. You'll find me. You find yourself a little, if you find yourself staring at a little red controller, that's me. You're going to be, and actually this is a bit more of patting myself on the back. You're going to be seeing a lot more of that red controller because come mid to end of November, my face cam will be going off, possibly permanently, because my wife and I will be welcoming our first child. And
nice!
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much. We are extremely excited, but the fact that is like a month and a half away, I am doing everything I can to stay calm.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna be swapping to a PNG avatar. So unfortunately, yeah, even if I star on here, I might pull up the face cam for the sake of podcast, but for the most part, it might be gone.
All right, Eddie, where can we find you?
So you could find me Eddie_Fuerte across the board. So that's pretty much all my handles in pretty much every social media. There are a lot of fakers out there like MyNeighborJess, but we're not going to get into that.
Oh, whoa!
Totally
I thought it was the other way around. I thought you were the neighbor Justin. He was Eddie.
Yeah. You can find me across the board on that. Currently, right now, finishing Metroid 3 Corruption. We're gonna get into the October festivities with going into the Resident Evil classics. I'm basically copying Jesse, but don't tell him. And but yeah, no. So we're but that's where you can find me.
All right, Jess, where can we find you?
I am in a pod from another dimension. I just copied all of Eddie Fuerte's DNA, and I'm still gestating inside of a pod. This is my fourth incarnation. I'm not a real person, but this fake clone of Eddie Fuerte, you can find that clone at MyNeighborJess across Blue Sky, Instagram, and of course Twitch. And we do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and play it all and. You're gonna hang out. It's 280 Fuertes for the price of 2.
The realization when you realize that I am the clone. I am
that
the
thing is in this economy.
The entire time. I question my reality. No.
Well, you can pretty much find me in like mostly on Blue Sky and Discord, but I'm also on Twitch and I have YouTube, but mainly for the VOD channel. Like my main channel is mainly reactions and stuff, and also where the podcast goes. The VOD channel for everything else, where I do daily Twitch streams on Monday through Thursday with the occasional Friday and Sunday streams from 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern until about like midnight Eastern Standard Time. So next week, we're going to go into the world of Resident Evil. We'll be talking about Resident Evil next week. So I'm looking forward to that. Once again, Bubs, Eddie, Jess, thank you guys again. I could not thank you guys enough for being a part of this episode. So
thanks a ton for having us.
Yeah,
it's
always a blast.
Always fun. Just ask me and I'll see if I can pull it off.
Absolutely. Yep. Because I might actually have to ask you something like right after this. But first, I got to sign off. So everybody in general, make sure to take care of yourselves. Be awesome. Stay awesome. Tell your lovers you love them. Check them out as always. May you all fight for lasting peace. I'll see you guys next time. And y'all have a wonderful night, everybody. And remember.
So long and take care.
And remember, let us go out for pleasure. The night is still young. That's a reference to the Game Over from Symphony of the Night. But yeah, good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night. Whip it good.
Thanks for watching Sharing with Shellshock Season 4. Your name will be inscribed in the pages of podcast history.